Building a PC is easy. Just get a couple of parts, slap it together, and you're done. But building hundreds of PCs a day, thousands of PCs a month, and tens of hundreds of thousands of PCs a year, and then building an entire business out of it, and making sure everyone that gets that PC at the end of the day is happy, well, that is hard. So how does Singapore's biggest PC company, Aftershock, do it? Well, they sponsored me to give you a tour of their behind-the-scenes processes so you get a better understanding of what actually goes on in a PC company like Aftershock when you buy a PC from them. Let's start off with part selection because that's where the processes for building a PC for a customer really start. Just like with building your own DIY PC, choosing the parts is one of the most important steps. But it's actually not that complicated these days for a single consumer. If you're just building for yourself, you just choose the parts that are compatible for you and give you the best value and has the features you like. Make sure they're all compatible on PC Part Picker and call it a day. But imagine if you had to do that for thousands of people and you have to deal with all their different budgets and needs, all while managing costs, profits, warranties, staff, production, suppliers, relationships with those suppliers and the other competitors in that market. Not to mention occasional shortages, oversupplies, and changes in market dynamics. That's all things that Aftershock has to consider when deciding parts because they're not just building PCs for fun like an average consumer, they're building PCs as a business. When that happens, it's probably not so simple. The whole process of part selection is actually really complex and hard to grasp, so much so that most of the decisions at the end of the day are still made by the original guy who created the company, Marcus, some 10 years on after the company has been created. Because those 10 years gave him a lot of knowledge and experience that you can only really learn from painful trial and error, which is something that very few people in his company can match. To make the process easier for themselves though, they've kind of boiled it down to two most important values that guide almost every part selection choice. Number one is to give the best value for money to the consumer. Now this is actually complicated in that it's different for everyone, since some people value FPS more, some people value looks more, some people value airflow more, some people value silence more. You know, the definition of value is extremely different depending on who you are. For Aftershock though, they've decided what is defined as value for them and value for their average customer is what will give the max FPS with least hassle to both the consumer and the manufacturer. And this does seem to cover the majority of the customers in Singapore. Now, obviously, this definition of value has to be changed depending on which country they're operating in. The values in which Aftershock Australia operates on is different. The second principle they use to guide their part selection decisions is convenience. A large reason people go with a system integrator pre-built is because it's kind of like DIY using off-the-shelf parts, but it's also a lot more convenient than DIY. So how does this factor into the decision making? Well, Aftershock picks parts that allow them to streamline assembly, scale up to reduce cost and complexity, and deliver more quickly, all of which will give more convenience and more value to the buyer. Convenience, however, also means having good and easy after-sales service, aka warranty, which factors in massively into the part selection, which is also why Aftershock uses failure rates and warranty claims info when deciding parts. Basically, if there's a lot of failures for a particular brand or model of RAM or power supply, and a lot of warranty claims for systems with those parts, they tend to pull those parts out of those systems and no longer sell it, instead switching to something else they deem as more reliable. Aftershock's opinion is that it makes no sense to give an inferior part to the consumer. It's a lose-lose situation anyway, because if a part fails, it's additional cost and strain on Aftershock to have to replace it and fix it with after-sales support and warranty, and it's also more hassle, more stress, and more annoyance for the customer. So Aftershock kind of aims to get the most reliable parts into the PC from day one to try to minimize these types of issues. Because of this though, they also don't really care about using the more popular brands that you might consider to be reputable, because sometimes while the brands might be reputable, the parts might not be, which is why you always see like Clav or FSP power supplies in Aftershock's rigs, because from their failure rate and warranty claim numbers, that is what seems to be the most reliable parts they can get their hands on, because they would rather you have less warranty and servicing requirements and issues than you having a branded power supply Wi-Fi or branded RAM that fails anyway. And of course, by not going with the most popular brands like Corsair or RAM for the majority of their rigs, they also have a lot of cost savings, which are often transferred to the consumer in terms of very competitive pricing. But what if you wanted something unique that doesn't fit in with the rest? Aftershock's main output really are their ready-to-ship rigs, which are mainly focused on offering the maximum amount of value with a simple, streamlined part selection, minimal customization that allows for Aftershock to scale up and be as efficient as possible, which allows for better pricing. But if you want customization, well, that's where build-to-order rigs come in. If you really specifically needed a couple of features that you wouldn't find on a ready-to-ship rig. And if you wanted it to be really crazy, a skunkworks project, because you're a company that wants a Halo product to show off in your offices or something, you can take it to the next level with a super custom rig from their skunkworks department called Ultra Labs, which is an initiative that was started in Aftershock Australia. Imagine a $10 million factory dedicated to just building the craziest custom PCs. After that though, it's time to build. Aftershock employs a massive team of PC builders to assemble your rigs, and goddamn are they fast. Their cable management, PC building, and setup practices are all very standardized and streamlined so that no matter who built your rig, there is a standard set and a standard mat. But what's cooler is the post-build testing. To help catch issues on any rig before it's even shipped out though, they have a very special and unique stress testing bay. So every freshly minted rig is connected to a main server that automatically installs Windows, the appropriate drivers, and all the testing software needed, so that stress tests can be run to ensure the stability of the hardware that is in that rig. OCCT, Prime 95, Unigine, any test you expect, it's run. They're then wiped after the QC check is passed before being packaged and shipped to the customer. I can't show you too much about the specifics of what server they use, but it's just really cool. It's like a massive mainframe that everything's plugged into and it just auto runs things, and you can run like hundreds of PCs at the same time benchmarking, which is insane. But as with anything, failures and problems with PCs do happen. So what then? Well, this was actually the hardest nut to crack for Aftershock and required so much investment to actually fix, but they're pretty happy about it right now. In Aftershock's early days, when they had small number of customers, service and giving great service wasn't very difficult since you only had that many PCs and that variety of parts to deal with. But now that they're really big, they really had to invest a lot of money into creating practices, protocols, service centers, specialized service crew to be able to fix PCs that are coming in that are broken and old. Especially since Aftershock has been around for 10 years. That's like close to 6 or 7 generations of different CPUs and GPUs, which means a lot of different parts to cover, a lot of different parts to diagnose, a lot of different parts to have warranties for. So the current system is as such. If you have any problems, Aftershock has an open email for support and sales that you can inquire through, or during working hours, you can just message them on a live chat, which is actually operated by actual human staff that is based in Singapore. It's not outsourced to another crew or anything. It's a local team that they assembled to help people in Singapore. They also don't have a phone line, and when asked upon why this is the case, Marcus actually told me that the main reason a phone line isn't that good for service is it's very hard to track. You can record a phone call with a customer, sure, but it's very hard to process the data from that phone call because you then have to transcribe it and have to figure out what goes wrong. With live chat and emails, there is a physical black and white log of how the customer service staff talk to the customers. So if anything's wrong or if the staff did anything wrong, it was easy to track down and easy to fix. But either way, this massive investment in the focus on service, after sales care, and warranty results in them being able to offer a 3-year warranty on all of their PCs that they sell, which is actually pretty impressive. And not only just that, in the first year of your warranty, there's something called on-site pickup. So if something goes wrong in your PC in the first year, they literally come to your house, pick it up, fix it, and then ship it back to you, so there's zero hassle to you, which is pretty good. But even bigger than that is the fact that all the PCs are covered under a lifetime servicing and cleaning coverage, which means for the life of the computer, you can bring it into Aftershock, get someone to clean it for you, replace the thermal compound, and be good to go. Even if that PC is 10, 12 years old, so long as Aftershock is around, they'll cover it. And of course, apart from those essential departments that are essential to building and managing the PC, there's also the marketing department who do ads and things. And if you're on TikTok, you might have seen some of their pretty interesting PC related TikToks. So there you have it. That's how you run a multi-million-dollar PC company with hundreds of staff, years of experience, constant expansion and investment with a whole lot of work. And with that, big thanks to Aftershock for letting me do a behind the scenes of their operations, and thanks for watching this video video. I hope this shines light into the inner workings of a system PC integrator, since I found it fascinating to see firsthand what it takes to build thousands of PCs a month, especially as Singapore's biggest PC company in our hyper-competitive PC market. If you're not aware, GPU and PC prices in Singapore are better than almost every other country in the world because of how competitive and price-worry it is. So I can subscribe. Goodbye.